There is a 74-year-old widow in Ohio who has been paying a bill every single month for the last 3 years that she legally stopped owing the day she turned 65. Nobody called. Nobody flagged it. The money just quietly leaves her account on the same day every month, the way it has for decades. Sit with that for a second, because if you are over 65, there is a very good chance the same thing is happening to you right now on at least 2 of the 7 bills I am about to walk through. And I am not talking about small money. Across a year, we are talking thousands of dollars leaving the account of an honest retiree who did nothing wrong. Here is the rule, and it is the single most expensive thing most seniors never hear. Turning 65 legally exempts you from a whole stack of fees, premiums, and taxes that younger people still have to pay. But being legally exempt and actually not paying are 2 completely different things. The exemption does not turn itself on. Nobody at the county, the bank, the utility company, the IRS, or Medicare is going to call and tell you to stop. You have to know it exists, and you have to ask for it by name. My name is David Taylor. This is Senior Money Brief. Today I'm walking you through 7 fees you are legally exempt from after 65, in plain English, with the exact thing to say for each one. Stay with me to the end, because the 7th one is the biggest, and it is also the easiest to claim. Let me show you the first one. It is hiding inside your Social Security check. Fee number 1 is the one most seniors never even see leaving their account, because it never actually hits the account. It gets pulled straight out of your Social Security check before the money ever lands. Your Medicare Part B premium. In 2026, that runs a little over $185 a month for most people. More than $2,200 a year, quietly shaved off your check. Here is what almost nobody tells you. There is a set of programs run through your state called Medicare savings programs. If your income is under the limit, your state does not lower that premium. Your state pays it for you. Those $200-some a month stop coming out of your check, and your monthly deposit goes up by exactly that amount. There are 3 tiers, and they go by the initials QMB, SLMB, and QI. The most generous one, QMB, does more than cover the premium. It also wipes out most of your Medicare deductibles and copays on top of it. And here is where people count themselves out. They hear the word program and assume the income line is far below where it actually sits. It is not. A single senior can qualify with a monthly income up to roughly $1,800 and a couple higher than that. In many states, your home and car do not count against you at all. This is one of the most underclaimed benefits in the entire system. Your action is 1 phone call. Call your local SHIP office, the State Health Insurance Assistance Program, and say this: I am on Medicare. I want to be screened for a Medicare savings program. That 1 call can put close to $200 a month back into your check for life. Now the bill on your kitchen table. Fee number 2 is where the biggest raw dollars on this entire list are hiding, your property tax bill. And there are actually 3 separate forms stacked on top of each other, and most seniors do not have a single one of them filed correctly. The first is the homestead exemption. It knocks a chunk of your home's value off the books before the county ever calculates what you owe. In Florida, that chunk is $50,000. In Texas, it is $100,000 off the school portion. Every state is different, but in nearly every state, it is real money. Most homeowners assume the homestead is automatic. In most states, it is not. You file a 1-page form with the county 1 time, usually before a spring deadline. The second form sits on top of the first, the senior or age 65 exemption. In Texas, every homeowner 65 and older gets another $10,000 off the school portion. In Florida, the senior exemption can be another $50,000 on top of the basic $50,000, doubling the wipe-off. And here is where comfortable retirees wrongly tune out. In more than half the states that offer this, Texas, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, there is no income test at all. You turn 65, you file, you get it. The third is the most valuable of all, the senior assessment freeze. When you turn 65 and file the freeze application, the county locks in your home's taxable value at whatever it is that year. Your neighborhood can gentrify, values can double, your tax stays on the frozen number. Your action is 1 phone call to your county assessor. Ask by name. Is the homestead exemption, the senior exemption, and the assessment freeze on file for my property? If any of them are not, ask which form adds them and what the deadline is. That was the house. Now the pharmacy counter. Fee number 3 is one of the cruelest bills a senior can carry because it hits the people who are the sickest and the most squeezed. Your out-of-pocket cost for prescription drugs under Medicare Part D. For years, the worst part of the drug benefit was that there was no real ceiling. If you had a serious condition and an expensive medication, you paid and paid, month after month, with no end in sight. That has now changed, and most seniors have no idea. Federal law put a hard cap on what you pay out of pocket for covered Part D drugs. In 2026, that cap is $2,100 for the year. Once your out-of-pocket spending hits that number, you are done paying for the rest of the year. Your plan picks up 100% of the cost of your covered drugs, not a smaller share, all of it. For someone on a $500 a month specialty drug, that is the difference between $6,000 a year and about $2,000, and then nothing. Thousands of dollars of protection most seniors are still leaving on the table because they don't know the ceiling exists. And here is where it gets even better if your income is limited. There is a federal program called Extra Help, sometimes called the Low Income Subsidy. Extra Help can dramatically lower what you pay for Part D, your premium, your deductible, your copays, stacked right on top of that cap. The income limits are more generous than most people assume, and they have been expanded recently. Seniors turned down years ago can qualify today. Your action is one application, filed directly through Social Security, online, by phone or in person. The form is called SSA-1020. It costs nothing. Now let me stop and add up where we are so far. Let me stop and add this up because I want you to feel where we are. Just on the first 3, the Part B premium your state may pay for you, the property tax freeze and exemptions on your home, and the new cap on your prescriptions. A senior could be overpaying by $4,000, $5,000, sometimes $6,000 a year. That is not a rounding error. That is a chunk of a property tax bill, months of groceries, and we are only halfway through. Now here is fee number 4, and this one surprises people because it does not come from the government at all. It comes from your bank. Almost every major bank in this country has fee waivers specifically for customers over 62 or 65. Monthly maintenance fees on your checking account, waived. Paper statement fees, waived. Fees on money orders and cashier's checks, waived or reduced. Some banks waive the minimum balance requirement entirely once you cross that age line. And here is the catch. The bank does not switch you over automatically on your 65th birthday. Your birthday goes by, the bank keeps quietly pulling that $12 or $15 monthly maintenance fee, and the account you have had for 30 years never gets updated. $12 a month sounds small until you multiply it out. Over a 10-year retirement, that is nearly $2,000 quietly gone on one account. Your action here is simple, and it should be your errand this week. Walk into your local branch or pick up the phone and say these exact words. I am over 65. Please move me to your senior checking account or apply any senior fee waivers I qualify for. If your current bank doesn't offer any, most credit unions and community banks do. Now the tax return itself. Fee number 5 is the quiet one. It does not come with a bill in the mailbox. It comes off the top of your income every year, and it is the single most common overpayment I see seniors make. This is your federal tax, and the tax code has 2 separate breaks stacked on top of each other that most retirees over 65 either never claim or claim only half of. The first is the additional standard deduction for being 65 or older. This has been sitting in the law for years. It stacks right on top of the regular standard deduction that everyone gets. The second is brand new. Starting with the 2025 tax year and running through 2028, every American 65 and older qualifies for a bonus deduction of up to $6,000, not instead of your standard deduction, on top of it. And if you are married and both of you are 65 or older, that is up to $6,000 each. $12,000 of income shielded from federal tax just for being 65 and knowing to claim it. It phases out at higher incomes, starting around $75,000 for a single filer and $150,000 for a couple. But for the vast middle of retirees living on Social Security and a modest pension, you are comfortably under the line. Here is the trap. Millions of seniors keep over-withholding on their pension or their Social Security out of habit, or hand their taxes to a preparer who never stops to adjust for their age. They hand the government an interest-free loan every year and call it normal. Your action is 2 lines on a form. When your return is prepared, confirm that both the age 65 additional deduction and the new $6,000 bonus were applied. Then ask whether your withholding should be adjusted going forward. Now the utility company. Fee number 6 is smaller in dollars, but it is still a bill you can legally stop carrying in full. I am not going to skip past it, because these bills hit every single month, whether you use the service or not. There is a federal program called Lifeline that takes about $9.25 a month off your phone or your internet bill. Many states stack their own discount on top of that, which can push it higher. Separately, if heating or cooling your home is ever a strain, there is a program called LIHEAP, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, and it pays that utility bill directly, sometimes several $100s a year, paid straight to the utility so the money never even passes through your hands. And here is the layer most seniors miss. A lot of local utility companies have their own senior discount programs that have nothing to do with the federal ones. Water, gas, electric, trash pickup. Many towns and counties offer a reduced senior rate you have to ask for by name. It is almost never advertised on the bill itself. $9 a month is not going to change your life. But when you stack the federal Lifeline discount, the state add-on, LIHEAP in the winter and summer, and a local senior utility rate all together, you are looking at real recurring money that stops leaving your account. Your action is one phone call. Dial 211. That free helpline points you to every one of these programs in your zip code. One fee left, and it is the one almost no one has heard of. Fee number 7 is the one people laugh at until they actually add it up, and then they stop laughing. This one is hiding at your DMV. In a growing number of states, once you cross 65, your vehicle registration fee, your annual excise tax, or your driver's license renewal fee is either reduced or waived outright. In some states, seniors pay half the standard registration. In others, the personal property tax on the vehicle drops significantly the year you turn 65. In a handful of states, the license renewal fee for older drivers is discounted or free, and the renewal period gets extended so you are not paying it as often. Every state is different, and I want to be honest with you about that. This is not one federal rule. It is a patchwork of state and county rules, and the exact break depends on where you live. But here is what I can tell you with certainty. If you have not asked, you almost certainly do not have it. The DMV is not going to mail you a birthday card. The county tax collector is not going to call. You renew the same way you have for 40 years, you pay the same bill, and the exemption sits on a shelf. And here is why this one matters more than the dollar amount suggests. It is recurring. Every year, the same fee, the same overpayment, quietly repeating. Over 15 or 20 years of retirement, on one vehicle, that adds up. On 2 vehicles in the household, double it. Your action is one call to your county tax collector, or DMV. Ask directly what age-based reductions you qualify for on your registration, your excise tax, and your license renewal. Now let me show you what all 7 look like on one real person. Let me bring all of this back to one real person. Picture a woman I'll call Margaret, 72, up near Toledo, a widow living in a paid-off home that has quietly doubled in value, getting by on her Social Security and a small pension. When someone finally sat down and went through her situation, the way we just went through these 7, here is what they found. She was paying the full Medicare Part B premium every month. She was paying the full unfrozen property tax bill on a home that had appreciated for years. She was paying a $14 monthly maintenance fee on the checking account she had used for 30 years. She was over withholding on her federal taxes because her preparer had never applied her senior deductions. She was paying the standard rate on her utilities, and she was paying full price on her vehicle registration. Added up on one kitchen table, one afternoon, and Margaret was quietly overpaying by more than $4,800 a year. Nothing about her life changed. She just filed the forms and made the phone calls, and every month after that, more of her own money stayed in her account. Here's what I want you to do this week. 3 calls. None of them cost $1. Call your county assessor and ask whether the homestead, the senior exemption, and the freeze are on file. Call your local SHIP office and ask them to screen you for a Medicare savings program and extra help. Dial 211 and ask about Lifeline, LIHEAP, and local senior utility programs. And walk into your bank and ask to be moved to their senior account. One last thing, this is general education, not personal legal or tax advice. Rules vary by state and income. Always confirm your own situation before you act. If this helped you, send it to one person over 65. I'm David Taylor. This is Senior Money Brief. See you in the next one.